All right. Hi, this is Mr. Bauer, and today we're talking about writing equations in standard form. All right? In standard form. But before we do that, let's look at the first objective that comes along with this, and that is writing equivalent equations. All right? I'm going to write an equation here, which, by the way, this equation is in standard form because a standard form is ax plus by equals c. I think the easiest way to explain it is get the x and the y on the same side. Okay? And then the numbers that don't have x's and y's go over here. Oh yeah, make sure that these numbers right here are not fractions. Okay? And let's let a be positive. Okay? So you just have to manipulate things until you get that. But the basic standard form has the x and the y on the same side, everything else on the other side. These can't be fractions. This one needs to be positive. All right? So here's an equation in standard form. I want you to be able to write equivalent equations to this equation. Well, in order to get an equivalent equation, all you really have to do is multiply everything in here by the same number. If I chose to multiply everything in there by 2, this would turn into 8x plus 4y equals 24. These two equations are equivalent. All right? What if sorry about this, I'm going to get rid of that. What if I try to multiply everything by 3? Okay? Yeah, that's what I said. Multiply everything by 3. Well, if I did that, I would get, multiply by 3, 12x plus 6y equals 36. Again, an equivalent equation. All right? That's how you do equivalent equations. All right, good. That's the first thing you kind of need to know. And that kind of introduces standard form to us. ax plus by equals c. Get the x and the y on the same side. All right, well, objective number 2 says then, write equations of lines in standard form. Okay, well, let's say you're given a graph here. And on that graph, you've got a line that goes through the ordered pair 2, 4. And it also goes through 6, negative 4. Okay? All right, so here's your line. Okay? It goes through 2, 4, and 6, negative 4. Well, we want to write an equation of this line. Well, we can't just go right to standard form. We've got to use what we already know. What do we already know? We know about point slope, and we know about slope intercept. I think point slope's the way to go here, but the first thing we've got to have is a slope. We've got plenty of points. Don't forget, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's the slope formula. How about 4 minus negative 4 over 2 minus 6? Okay, you like how I did the y's and then the x's? 4 minus negative 4 is really 4 plus 4. That's 8. What's 2 minus 6? It's negative 4. Yep. And so the slope of this line is negative 2. So let's use a slope of negative 2. And I'm going to pick the point 2, 4. Why did I pick 2, 4 over 6, negative 4? Well, really because these were all positive. And then I'm going to write my equation in point slope form. Y minus 4 equals negative 2 times x minus 2. All right? So there's my equation in point slope form. Now, let's distribute this negative 2. Let's change it while we're doing it. Let's just go ahead and change it to slope intercept form. All right? y minus 4, I'm going to distribute that negative 2, negative 2x plus 4. Well, let's get y by itself. We're going to add 4 to both sides in order to do that. And then we've got y equals negative 2x plus 8. And now I've gone from point slope to slope intercept. Well, I want to get to standard. Well, to get to standard, I need the x and the y on the same side. So let's take this x over there. How do I get it over there? I add 2x to both sides, and now I'm going to have 2x plus y equals 8. And that, my friends, is in standard form. So to get to standard form, you've got to use everything else you know about writing lines, don't you? You maybe start in point slope form, and then you distribute, you combine some like terms, and then you get the x and the y on the same side. All right? That's what we're looking at. Let's just say, for instance, though, that we came up with one that was, we had 5x plus, and it was a fraction, 3/2 y equals 7. And we said to be in standard form, you can't have a fraction. Well, how can you make that fraction disappear? Well, in order to make a fraction disappear, multiply by whatever number's in the denominator. And so we would multiply both sides of this equation by 2. What's 2 times 5x? 10x. What's 2 over 1 times 3 over 2? Well, it's 3y. Yeah. And this would be 14. So, standard form, x's and y's on the same side. Make sure that you don't have any fractions over here. All right? Very good. Very good. All right. One last thing that they want you to do in this section is they want you to write the equations of horizontal and vertical lines. Okay? All right? And so they might do this. They might give you a graph, and they might say, okay, here's a point. Let's call it negative 10, 5. And let's say that there's a horizontal line that runs through that, and there's a vertical line that runs through that. Notice I missed it. Yeah, both. Okay. So let's just call that negative 10, 5. All right. Well, they're going to want you to write the equation of this vertical line, and they're going to want you to write the equation of this horizontal line. Well, I have this little thing that I remember, HOI and VUX, all right? And HOI stands for horizontal lines have slopes of 0, and their equations always start out as y equals. So the equation of this line is y equals 5. Notice that 5 was the y value. Did you know that any point on this line has a y value of 5? This would be 0, 5. Maybe this is 4, 5. But you always have to go up 5, don't you? Well, like down here then, vertical lines have undefined slopes, and their equations always start out x equals. So the equation of this line is x equals, can you guess? Negative 10. Because every point on this line is negative 10 something. Negative 10, 0. Negative 10, negative 5. Negative 10, negative 2. All right? So, when you write the equations of vertical and horizontal lines, it's either y equals something, some number for horizontal, or x equals some number for vertical lines. Good stuff to know. Good stuff to know. All right? Good luck.